What's up, YouTube? Mr. Negative here. You can call me negative. I don't mind it. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about saws and maintenance, and then let's get into how to run a saw. I think there's a lot of people are having to sharpen their saws so much because they don't know how to use them. They're having to swap and flop bars so much because they don't know how to run a saw. So I'm gonna just kind of talk about this kind of little maintenance on some of the saws we've been running. Alright, first of all, this is my little top handle saw. I ported this saw about 3 years ago. Runs great. I bent the bar, put this cheap bar, I bent a bar on it, my bar on it, and I went stop by a little flea market, bought a little cheap bar and put on it. And I've been running this little bar for maybe a month now. I'm going to get me another Sugihara bar for it. This bar is fine. I mean, it's doing alright. I've been just running till it wears out, but bars don't ever wear out for me because I run saws different. Let's get into that. Whenever I do maintenance on the saw, I blow out all the filters. I pull the cover off. I blow out around the carburetor. I blow all the fine dust off of it. The fins on the head, I blow all that stuff off of it. I do that pretty regular because it keeps the saw from overheating. And heat is what kills everything. Heat is what destroys your bars, your chains, the engines. And that's just the facts about it. So therefore, whenever I don't want to be negative. I don't want to tell you that you don't know what you're doing whenever you think you do. Let's just have more options. How about that? Let's have a different way of thinking. Another perspective. Alright? This is my perspective behind running chainsaws. I'm not going to do the work. The saw is going to do the work. If you're working the saw, there's something not right. You have a piece of machinery. Yes, it's a machinery. I mean, you know what I mean? You have equipment that's supposed to be doing the work. If you're working the saw, if you're doing the work, if you're working the saw, there's something not right behind your thinking. If you set the saw down in the wood and it's not cutting, if you're having to put pressure on it, there's something not right. So therefore, you need to backtrack and figure out what the issue is, whether it's rakers, whether it's not sharp, whether I mean, there's 3 or 4 different things it could be. I don't know the situation. I'm just saying, if you're having to work that saw, if you're having to put pressure on it, it's not cutting. It's not right. The saw should be doing all the work. You set the saw in the wood, you set it down there. First thing, whenever you're pulling the trigger, and you set the saw in the wood, first thing that saw should do is pull itself to the wood. It should be pulling itself to the wood. And then if you keep pulling the trigger, it should just pull the bar right over. Just like that. You shouldn't be pulling up on it. You should be pulling the trigger, and it should just be pulling itself into the wood. That's how a saw is supposed to cut. You shouldn't be boating it. You shouldn't be doing that back and forth. I mean, whenever you run a big saw and big wood, yeah, pull the saw out a little bit, pull the bar out. Make sure it's clearing out. That way it ain't stopping up. That's not working the saw. That's kind of helping the saw work. You pull it out, let it clear all that chips out, and and then oil it up. Oil the bar up a little bit, and just kind of when you pull them out, I do it for 2 different reasons. I'll clear it out. I'll make sure it's running good, and it'll oil the bar up a little bit, and I'll let it ease it back in. When I'm doing that, I'm watching my kerf on the wood. That way, because that way it's not gonna shut up on my bar. I do it for 2 different reasons. That's just the 2 reasons that I do it. When I'm cutting wood and I kind of ease my bar out and I let it go back in, I'm kind of feeling the kerf. I'm feeling how it's closing up. Because a lot of that wood is twisted sometimes, and I mean I've had it twist whenever it comes loose, twist and bend bars. And that's just what it is. I mean, you watch Billy Ray and some of that blow down stuff. That wood's not, the fibers in that wood's not as tough as this is. So twisting that may let that break on loose and come on out. But some of the, like the hickory and some of these white oaks, that twisted wood, I mean, it's whenever what little bit of fibers you have left ain't gonna just break off like some of that pine or softwood. But let's get back to what I was talking about. If the saw's not working, you need to reevaluate the saw. And because a couple things are gonna happen. If you're working that saw, you're getting the bar hot. And this saw right here, this is my boy saw. It's a 445. The very best homeowner saw it's ever made. By far the best. It's 50cc saw. The cuts are amazing. We run 16-inch bar on all of them, on all of the ground saws, because there's not really much. There's not really much it's not going to cut, as far as tops and trees and limbs, and stuff like that. Then we use, of course, the bigger saws to block the wood up. So on the ground, you don't really nothing more bigger than a 20-inch saw, 20-inch bar, which what this does, or a 16-inch bar, my bad, sorry, 16-inch bar. Super easy to lubricate. You can move around in the brush with it. Always lock your bar. Whenever you're moving with a saw, lock the bar. When you get ready to cut. Then lock the bar, I'll lock the bar religiously. Just make it a second nature. And then whenever you start cutting, all you gotta do is just pop your hand up, pop it loose. And it's very safe practice to lock the bar always when you're moving with a saw. But anyway, this is my boy saw. This bar has been on here for 3 years, just like that. 3 years. I've never had to flip the bar, never had to rotate the bar. I've never had to straighten my bar out. This is why. Whenever I tighten my chains, see that? That's a little bit loose. Whenever I tighten my chains, I tighten it just to the chain touches the bar. Whenever you see that gap close, that's all you go. And it should still. I mean, it shouldn't be snappy. Whenever that gap closes, tighten it up. Tighten the bar up. Don't tighten the chain no more. When it pulls the chain to the bar, tighten it. Whenever you're running the saw should be pulling itself through the wood. Thus, the word pull. Do you hear what I'm saying? If that saw is pulling itself through the wood, where's the pressure at on the bar that creates that flat spot? There is none, right? Because if that chain's pulling the saw through the wood, the chain is pulling, you're not pushing. Kind of what I mean. So if that saw is nice and sharp, where it should be, where it's maintained, if it's dull, don't run it. If it's dull, if the saw's dull, if you're having to work the saw, you're doing 2 things. You're getting the chain hot, you're getting the bar hot, and you're overworking the saw. You're overworking the clutch. You know what I'm talking about? If you're pushing on that thing, the clutch is working harder, it's getting hot, there's more heat on the motor, the chain's getting hot from all the pressure, because pressure equals heat. And then you're wearing a flat spot on your bars. You're costing yourself money, you're working way too hard, you're probably sweating, breathing hard. And a lot of people run 32 to 1, you're breathing that smoke. I don't I don't run them 32 to 1. I run them 50 to 1. I run every saw I've ever owned 50 to 1. That's just me. And I've tore apart just as many saws as a lot of these guys on YouTube that build them. I've built just as many saws as some, and I've built less than others. You know what I mean? I've done my fair share of work on saws. 52 to 1, you don't get gummed up, the rings ain't sticking. But I let my saws cut. I stay higher in RPM range. Whenever I pull the trigger, I let the saw cut. I'm not pulling it on the bar, not working it. And that's the key to maintenance on the saw. That's part of maintaining the saw, is knowing how to run it. Anyway, that's just the running part, alright? So we need to learn how to run a saw. We need to get back to the basics of knowing how to run a saw, knowing how to because life is different. Life is different. People run saws now as a hobby. If you're watching this, a lot of you guys, you're hobbyists. You don't run them for a living. You know, even a lot of people that try to do tree service, some people do this professionally. They don't. Some professionals don't know. I say professionals, so some people that have been doing it for a couple years, they have all of this unnecessary maintenance because they was never taught, or they just never learned. You know what I mean? They may have been told, they just never learned. But the reason I know this stuff is because I'm a fourth generation logger, timber cutter, tree man. This is what I do. My boys are fifth generation. You see how old they are. I started working with them. This is our 5th year, just me and them. Imagine going out on a job. I'm talking about real jobs. I'm talking about real job. We get paid. They're covered under my insurance. We go work to get the job done. We don't. You know what I'm talking about? I hope you understand. There's a lot of people do this stuff for fun and for hobbies. It is fun. I like doing this work. And that's not a good place. Alright. Awkward silence. I'm trying not to be like Mr. Negative that everybody looks at me at. It's hard to put in a text message, or not a text message, but a message or comment section. For me, it's hard for me to put it in not come across like negative. But everything I say is factual. I can't do that. I can't see what's going on. But anyway, I try to put in facts. I try to leave my opinions out of stuff. If it's my opinion, I'm gonna tell you. Everybody has their different opinions. Like this 445 being the best homeowner saw made. That's my opinion. It's not a fact. I've ran every saw they are made, and these saws they're just amazing. No matter which year I bought them, they've always been really great saws. I mean, they're a high production saw. They make hundreds of thousands of them to throw away. But we keep them maintained. We're not wearing anything out. We're not overworking it. We're letting the saw do the work. And I can just take this saw. It's been raining. It's sprinkling out. I started to say I can take this saw out here and show you how a saw is supposed to cut. I made a video the other day about how a saw is supposed to cut. a while back. Well, it's my mailman. He's a good guy. But I was running it one-handed, which is not the way to run a saw. I mean, I run them one-handed a lot. I do. But what I did in that video, whenever I cut, I just cut and it fell through and hit the ground, and it kind of dulled it just a little bit, a few teeth, and you can kind of tell the way it was cutting. And the next, I mean, it would kind of whenever it was cutting, it kind of stopped, but then it'd take off again. But anyway, the saw should be doing the cut working. You just lay it in the wood. It should just pull itself right over. It should be pulling. You shouldn't be pushing. And that's the difference between wearing out a bar and not wearing out a bar. You know, getting your chains hot and having to sharpen them every 10 blocks of wood, or being able to cut 45 blocks, or five, let's say 5 rick of wood versus 1 rick of wood. Some people say cords versus cutting a half a cord versus 2 cords. That's the difference. And whenever I sharpen my saws, they're still cutting, but they're not cutting. My wife is calling. Anyway, this is a video about running saws. So let's check ourselves and check our equipment. Make sure we're cutting and running a saw the proper way, and that's going to eliminate a lot of unnecessary maintenance and unnecessary wear. And I'll make another video in a minute. See you guys.